Ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to you. I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you this afternoon. The purpose of this business seminar is to expose Pakistan as a prospective country of investment and sound business. While some of you who may have experience of working in Pakistan know the immense opportunities that exist there, today we will talk about the investment prospects, the Jsez or the Japan Special Economic Zone development in Pakistan becoming a reality, and hearing your own views about this growth and the opportunity for further development of bilateral relations between Pakistan and Japan.
本日、当大使館にご来館いただきました皆様に心から歓迎を申し上げます。本日のセミナーは皆様に今後の投資先、ビジネス商機としてパキスタンという国を知っていただきたいという意図で行われています。皆様の中にはすでにパキスタンで事業をされていて、この国には多大なる機会があることをご存知の方もいらっしゃると思います。本日は今後の投資機会、また今現在実現しつつある日本経済特別区についてお話をさせていただき、今後の成長可能性について皆様からのご意見をお伺いさせていただきたいと思います。
Before we begin the proceedings of today's seminar, I would like to invite the Ambassador of Pakistan, Mr. Farooq Amil, to give his opening remarks.
それではセミナーに移る前にファルーク・アーミル駐日大使より開会のご挨拶をさせていただきます。
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you, madam. Thank you so much for that introduction. Before I come to my comments, I just want to mention one thing, and that is that we're talking about the Japan Special Economic Zone. This is an idea that has been on the table in proposal form for some time now. We feel here at the embassy that this needs to have a new impetus, some fresh focus, and since we have a new democratically elected government that has gone from one democratically elected government to the next, and we have a prime minister who is an extremely able business person who is committed to the private sector, that we need to look at this.
私、まずご挨拶させていただく前に、この日本経済特別区について若干お話しさせていただきたいと思います。日本のために経済特別区を作ろうというものは、すでに提案されてからしばらくの時が経ってまいりまして、今ようやく実現しつつあります。今年5月にはパキスタンが民主的に選出された民主的な政権から、そしてまた新政権へと民主的に平和裏に移行が行われたということで、大変国が始まって以来の大変素晴らしい機会が訪れています。そして今現在新首相は大変このビジネスに重点を置いておりまして、そして今後この一層の経済機会をより拡大していくべく何か新しい試みをしようという考えを持って、そしてこの中の一つがこの経済特別区でございます。
So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure to welcome you all to this seminar. It is an initiative on investment and collaboration with the DTS Incorporated, and it is most befitting that we welcome the vibrant private sector of Japan. We are optimistic that this seminar will help in making a case for investment in Pakistan and create an opportunity to understand the business environment and help in enhancing business bilaterally and ultimately in bringing about regional and global economic coordination and progress. Pakistan has the space, the energy of a youthful population, a growing domestic market. Pakistan has been blessed by nature with an abundance of natural resources. Add to this our proven human resources, then we have the critical ingredients for development. Ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan is a country in the region that offers great growth opportunities. According to The Economist, in terms of stock exchanges of the world, virtually everywhere is beaten hands down by the Karachi Stock Exchange, which has risen by 40% so far this year in local currency terms. Of the stock markets tracked by The Economist, only Japan has performed better. Ours is a country that is rich in natural resources, waiting to be explored, such as the 185 billion, and I repeat, billion tons of reserves of coal, only a 2% usage of which could produce 20,000 megawatts of energy for 40 years. Unextracted iron ore of about 1,000 million tons. We have in Balochistan the world's top 7 reserves of copper, besides having huge reserves of gold. There are mining opportunities for lead, zinc, granite, marble, gems, gypsum, limestone, red oxide, and rock salt, amongst many other things. Pakistan, ladies and gentlemen, has a long history of business relations with Japan. The predecessor Bank of Tokyo, Mitsubishi, has been in Karachi since 1925. We greatly value our relations with Japan and consider it a strong and reliable development partner. It is always looking forward to Japan's long-term engagement in its development and to search for ways and means to further strengthen the trade and economic interaction between the two countries. Pakistan acknowledges Japan's role in promoting stability and development in the region. However, a huge potential exists between the two countries to further develop economic ties. Pakistan looks forward to important Japanese companies' role in not only critical infrastructural development projects such as the Karachi Circular Railway project and the establishment of the Japan Special Economic Zone, but also power sector projects like Thermal Coal Power Project, and also I may mention small dams, medium-sized dams of critical importance to Pakistan. If we compare the statistics, it would lead us to conclude that the bilateral trade and economic cooperation is far below the existing potential between our two friendly countries. To exploit the untapped potential existing in Pakistan, the recent smooth democratic transition of government, amongst other things, will generate business confidence and create investment-friendly environment in the country. The new government has enacted policies immediately to take all business and investment enterprises on board to make them partners in progress and prosperity. Over the last 3 decades, ladies and gentlemen, the country has moved in the direction of creating an increasingly larger space for the private sector and establishing a regulatory framework for private investment in important sectors such as banking, finance, telecommunications, power, oil and gas, and of course the electronic media. From an investment point of view, Pakistan, compared to its neighbors, continues to be one of the lowest cost destinations in terms of labor costs, at $1.36 an hour approximately. Whilst at the same time, as per a survey conducted by JETRO of Japanese affiliated companies in Asia and Oceania last year, Pakistan is the most profitable country in the region. Its energetic entrepreneurial environment has much to do with the investment incentives offered by the government. Fiscal discipline is a central tenet of the new government. It will provide the bedrock for stable and predictable economic growth. Ladies and gentlemen, the government of Sindh has earmarked 2,000 acres of land for international Japanese Special Economic Zone on the National Highway in Dabeji area of Tata district. The land is near Port Qasim industrial area, only 30 kilometers from Karachi Airport. It is an ideal destination for the establishment of new as well as existing businesses relocating from developed countries with the availability of affordable and skilled labor force from nearby Karachi. With DTS Incorporated developing the site, we expect a state-of-the-art infrastructure. Ladies and gentlemen, the Memorandum of Understanding has been signed with the Japanese entrepreneur group, MSDTS Incorporated Tokyo, represented by its president, Dr. Hiro Takahashi, for the establishment of the industrial enclave on 250 acres of land under the Japanese Special Economic Zone, Dameji. The DTS Group, Japan, will establish the most modern and advanced industrial enclave for attracting investment under this initiative. In the end, I assure you, ladies and gentlemen, that Pakistan is, and I repeat, is on a positive trajectory of growth and development, and as always, values highly the Japanese companies already operating there, and warmly welcomes, and I repeat, warmly welcomes new ones to come, to join, to reap the boons of growth, and also to benefit from a huge domestic market, and also our regional markets, to our west, to our east, and of course to our south. I hope today's seminar will lead to some fruitful and positive developments, and certainly some interest. We must not tire of trying. I thank you for your time and your patience, and certainly your attendance to come all this way to listen and to hopefully have some kind of positive interaction. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Ambassador. I'll begin with the sequence of my presentation today. I'll first lay out the context of my presentation by talking about the world economy, the Japanese economy, and finally the Pakistan's economy with its deep growth potential, investment opportunities in the shape of special economic zone for Japan will be elaborated by me and more comprehensively by Dr. Takahashi in his presentation which follows after mine. Now the world economy. According to a UN report based on some assumptions, the world gross domestic product was 2.2% in 2012. It is projected to grow well below 2.4% in 2013 and at 3.2% in 2014. Thus, the world economies are operating below potential. Growth of the world trade accelerated sharply in 2012 owing to declining import demand in Europe. As the region entered into its second recession in 3 years, as also evidenced by the trade data of different regions in a sequence, can be found that it originated in the Euro area. And then it was transmitted to the rest of the world. As a result of imports of United States and Japan also declined. Exports of the East Asian economies that deal with the developed world consequently declined too. However, very interestingly, the latest United Nations World Human Development Report 2013 makes some very interesting observations on basis of data that they had collected over a period of time. And it says, and I would like to quote it from that very report, it says, developing countries have played a big part. Between 1980 and 2010, they increased their share of world merchandise trade from 25% to 47%, and their share of world output from 33% to 45%. Developing regions have also been strengthening links with each other. Between 1980 and 2011, South-South trade increased from less than 8% of the world merchandise trade to more than 26%. The South has risen at an unprecedented speed and scale. For example, the current economic takeoffs in China and India began with about 1 billion people in each country and doubled output per capita in less than 20 years. Now, this is an economic force affecting a much larger population than the Industrial Revolution itself. By 2050, Brazil, China, and India combined are projected to account for 40% of the world output in purchasing power parity terms. During these uncertain times, countries of the South are collectively bolstering the world economic growth, lifting other developing economies and reducing poverty and increasing wealth on a very grand scale. With South-South cooperation, we in Asia must rise together. This is our big chance to be on the highway to development and to sustainable growth. Now, I would like to, I have been a student of the Japanese economy for these last 8 months, and I could really talk about it at certain length, but I'll not do that because you know better than I do about your own economy. But in a nutshell, I'll try to summarize it very short. So, post-World War II, the Japanese concentrated their entire focus on technological development and industry. They were truly on their way to become the #1 economy in the world. In the last 2 decades, however, this truly great economy is struggling with weak domestic demand and tough competition for its exports that are still brand names all over the world. Besides the growth issues are the resource constraints that are now heightened by the closure of its nuclear reactors, causing an energy constraint that may be a direct hit to its growth rejuvenation efforts. Abenomics is an economic strategy that is nothing short of a modern-day experiment on Keynesian theory of spending for prosperity. The most pragmatic part of the strategy is the Abe government seeking growth opportunities in the resource-rich and growth-hungry economies of the Asia, the next 11. That is where the solutions to the growth problems of Japan reside. It is time for Japan to look outside. Pakistan is an old friend that awaits Japan's rise. And at this juncture, I think I would like to quote a quote by Dag Hammarskjöld, and it says very, very truly, and this quote also lies in between Pakistan's and Japan's economy in a big way, the way I look at it. So it says, it is when we all play safe that we create a world of utmost insecurity. And as an economist, I do believe in the adage which says very wisely, is that high risk, high return, and ultimately the virtuous cycle of prosperity and growth finally occurs. So, in my next slide, I would like to show some indicators of Pakistan's development. These are indicators of the economy. Most significant is the rise in the FDI, which arose around 18% this year from after spending very low rates in the last 4 or 5 years. The next slide is shows the Pakistan's map, its location. It is surrounded on all 4 sides by economic opportunities. The economic cross currents will necessarily pass through it. Needless to talk about the booming economy of China and landlocked, energy-rich Central Asia, capital and energy surplus Middle East, and progressing South Asia that all surrounded on all four sides. Economic stability comes through political stability. We now have a stable democratic government in Pakistan. This government has a very solid corporate profile and has insight into the mechanics of political economy through its experience of business ventures as well as previous experience of running the country. Manpower that is youthful is in itself a great source capable of keeping the economy going for a long span. Pakistani labor force is also the most cost-effective in the region. Our economy is now on the mend. Its total foreign exchange reserves rose to $10.399 billion in the week ending August 16, 2013, and are likely to improve further with its loan agreements with IMF and other donors, making it a more debt-sustainable economy. Inflation is in single digit, and the economy shows all signs of resilience and rebounding at positive economic news. And I hope there are a lot of good news we'll be hearing, inshallah, from Pakistan. The stock exchange, as already pointed out by the investor, is doing very good and is showing a robust growth. Next is I'll be talking about the investment opportunities and the investment policy first of all. So, in general terms, all sectors are open for investment except the few which you know are relating to the defense and the printing of the currency and all those. Except that, all sectors at the moment are open to businessmen from all over the world. Then the investment policy believes in giving equal treatment to local and foreign investors, and foreign equity up to 100% is allowed. Full remittance of capital out profits and dividends is also allowed, and lucrative fiscal incentives for import of capital machinery and equipment. The next slide, it shows you the policy metrics, and this will give you a fair idea of how we are proceeding, so I will depend on your own good judgment to have a look at the slide and see that there are many encouraging, incentives for the investors. With this, we will go on to the next slide, which talks about the special economic zones. The special economic zones came into the being by an act of the Government of Pakistan, 2012, promulgated to establish industrial clusters throughout the country. SEZs to be established by public sector, private sector, or under public-private partnership. Provincial governments are frontline players, and Board of Investment Pakistan is the secretariat for the special economic zones. Generally, special economic zones can have multiple benefits for the investing country and for the domestic economy itself, but on a more general and a less detailed scale, I would see the SEZs, they meet global competitiveness challenges, and they provide you access to new markets. They create efficient and competitive industrial clusters to attract quality foreign direct investment. They reduce cost of doing business through attractive incentive packages that each government likes to give in order to invite investment from other countries. And it facilitates investors with one window operation, so they know things have to be made smooth for people who would like to come and invest in the economy. Then we have the approval process. As you can see, that Board of Investment is the main place where you have to where it will deal with all the applications, and where then finally the approval committee will go through to the approval board and finally comes back to the board of investment, and where the approval process has been kept very simple, as you can see in this slide. So I would also like to talk about the salient features of the SEZs. First of all, the incentives. The incentives are that there is a 10-year income tax holiday both for zone developers and zone enterprises. One-time exemptions on import of capital goods for establishment of zones and projects in the zones. And area requirement is like 50 acres minimum, and there's no maximum limit. For captive power, we have captive power facility to fulfill their power demands. Then there is some investment data I would like you to have a look at it. This is basically 2012, but it will give you a fair idea of how the economy normally proceeds. And the next is the FDI mix in major sectors in Pakistan. And as you can see, there's increased investment in oil and gas, textiles, construction, chemical sectors, and major drop in transport and financial services, as you can see through the pie chart which shows there. Then I would like to talk about the contribution to the national economy. Net FDI inflows during last 10 years is US $25.66 billion. Oil and gas, financial business, trade, construction, power and communications are major sectors which attract investment in Pakistan. USA, UK, UAE, Hong Kong, Switzerland, Germany, Netherlands, Norway, Saudi Arabia, Japan are major investing partners. Major companies that you all know, we have more than 26 Japanese companies have permanent establishment in Pakistan, which includes automobiles, electronics, financial businesses, trading houses, and these includes well-known names like Honda, Toyota, Suzuki, Gandhara, Nissan, YKK, Bank of Tokyo, Mitsubishi, Nippon Paints, Marubeni Corporation. Then with Japan, we have some bilateral treaties also. Number one is investment promotion and protection, which was done in 1998, and then avoidance of double taxation treaty, which was enacted in 2008. Now with this, I'll talk about the investment opportunities and the various sectors where it is beneficial for foreign investors to make investments. And the domestic market itself is huge enough to take in all the development and all the output that will be generated as a result. So beginning with the investment opportunities, for the first sector which needs energy, and the energy requirement of the country itself is huge. And what to say of exporting it to neighboring countries, that's another very hopeful idea. But then at the moment that within the country itself there's a huge demand for energy. So energy investment offers a lot of opportunities. And then comes the mining, and finally the IT and telecom sectors. And that doesn't belittle the other sectors that we have, other development which I've spoken earlier about, or which the details can always be shared with you. So that there are always chances that depending on the level of investment that you would like to make in the country. So energy. This is a picture which says it all. Then the investment opportunities in the oil sector. You see the oil sector, it has a great potential and an untapped, unused potential of 5.93 TOE, and exploration and production, refineries, pipeline distribution are the places which you can invest in. And same in the gas sector, the untapped percentage is like 14.84, and it again, invites investment in exploration, compression, transportation, distribution, and storage. Coal mining is totally untapped. 99.9% it says we are still to get the coal from underneath the earth. So there are opportunities for exploration, extraction, gasification, integrated power generation. hydro side, we have water storage and irrigation networks, hydropower generation, run-of-the-river, integrated coal and power generation projects, and renewable energy generation. And these will be on basis of, making it operational, and handing it over or running it on those economic lines. So next I'll be talking about the mining side. And mining is, there are huge resources in Pakistan that are still not tapped. They're still there under the earth, and that offers the best opportunity, one of the best opportunities to be investing in those. So we have a national mineral policy in 1995, which gives a lot of fiscal incentives. The first is the exploration phase, full exemption of duty and taxes on import of machinery and equipment for exploration. Then mine development and commercial production phase, levy of only 5% duty on import of machinery and equipment. An exemption of 15% sales tax, deferment of duty allowed during construction phase for a period of 3 years on payment of 6% per annum interest. Then all this information, you can find it on the website, Ministry of Petroleum website, and can get more detailed information on this website. Right. Next we have the mining opportunities, where to lie, what materials. So you can see for yourself, it will tell you barite, fire clay, fuller's earth, granite, gypsum, limestone, magnesite, marble, phosphate, red oxide, rock salt, and silica sand. And you can look at the reserves that are there. Most of them are very large reserves, and they're of medium to good quality. So this is in a general, I can tell you this one, but details can always be had. We can give you greater details, more specific. Given you tell us your own feasibilities, your own possibilities of investing, and the sum that you want to invest in, we can always share those details with you. And further up, there are also mining opportunities in bauxite, chromite, copper, gold, iron ore, lead, zinc, and manganese. So, and the percentages that are there and the quality that will be done. Now coming to coal, of which we have huge 187 billion tons of it still lying under the earth. This is a huge potential, and it could look after our potential energy requirements for a long time, for a long time in fact. The current consumption of coal is like 11 million tons per annum against a production of only 5 million tons. The supply and demand of about 6 million tons of coal is being met through imported coal. So we have all this coal lying with us, and we have yet to import coal because of not having mined it so far. Then the coal resources, this is about where our coal basically lies. It is mostly in the Sindh area, Sindh province, Balochistan, also a little bit in Punjab, and some in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and while a small quantity also is in Azad, Jammu and Kashmir. With this we come to the IT and telecom sector, and the profile I'll show you, open a small window on the profile of this sector. But this sector has really grown with leaps and bounds in Pakistan. It is telecom has really, people of Pakistan have really taken to telecom and IT in a big way. So there's a huge market and huge interest itself in Pakistan. So it says there's a tele density has touched about 68.4% in the country. 108.9 million cellular users, and they're growing by leaps and bounds every day. About 1.4 million broadband subscribers, and Pakistan has an emerging regional traffic hub for the Middle East, Afghanistan, and Central Asian republics. And in this sector, in the telecom sector, there are opportunities for you for building up call centers, back office, GIS mapping, which is your geographical information system, software design and testing, software products, distance learning, IT education, and training. Then investment can be made in hardware and internet equipments, upgrading the billing systems, rural telecommunications, data communications, 3G and 4G networks, advent of mobile banking, mobile sex manufacturing, and outsourcing and franchise. So ladies and gentlemen, this was a very summarized view of the investment opportunities, but the Embassy of Pakistan in Tokyo is always at your call for any further detail, and if you need to discuss your investment proposal, you will always find me there, the trade team there, and the investor is always very sympathetic and very attentive to any such requirement that arises from the Japanese investors. So with this, I would like to thank you very much for your very patient hearing, and I would love to take some questions and answers, but we'll have a question and answer session at the end of the seminar. So after a few minutes break, you can take a 5-7 minutes break. Then we will have Dr. Takahashi presenting his side of the case. Thank you very much.